Okay, today we're going to start our next lesson. It's on our rules of exponents, and we're doing product of powers today. These are the notes that go on page 76 that you should have grabbed when you walked into class today, and they should be glued into your notebook. The product of powers is also sometimes called the product of like bases. So if you'll write that up at the top of your paper. The product of like bases has one rule, and the rule is listed here up above. So when multiplying two powers with the same base, this part right here is really important, it has to have the same base, then you're going to add the exponents. Now remember, when you're working with exponents, the base was our b here, and n is the exponent. So they have to have the same b value in order to be considered having the same base. So we're going to walk through the three examples here together. The first one, x to the third times x to the seventh. So we notice that they have the same base. Our base is x. In the middle section here, they have it listed out, kind of the work, what this would look like, and the proof of why adding the exponents works. So x to the third is really just x times x times x. X to the seventh is x times x times x 7 times. And if you multiply that out, you can see that we have 3 here, 7 here. And so really, you're just doing x to the 3 plus 7th power, which is really just x to the 10th, and you have 10 x's. Okay, we're going to go on to the second one here, a to the 4th times a to the 3rd. So in the middle, you're going to copy this along with me. A to the 4th is really just a times a times a times a. And we're going to multiply that times a to the 3rd. A times a times a. And you can see that we have 4 a's in the first problem, 3 in the second. So all together, I would have 7. And so my final answer would be a to the 7th power. The last example here has still the same bases. So we're still working with our product of powers, or our like bases. In this case, the base is 2. It's not a variable. It still works the same way though. So I have 2 to the 2nd power, which is 2 times 2. I have times 2, which remember is just 2 to the 1st power. They just aren't going to put the 1 there. If you want to stick it in to remind yourself, you can, but it's just a 2. And then we have 2 to the 4th power, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Add all that up, and we have 2 to the 7th power. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 4 gives us 7. Now, if the problem says to evaluate it, where they actually want an answer, or to simplify, then you would actually calculate 2 to the 7th power out. Otherwise, you would just leave it with the exponent. So that's as far as the notes are. Just that one simple rule. If they have the same base, you just add the exponents. I do not need to see all of this work on the problems below. What I do need to see is just that you're adding the exponents together to get the final answer. I'm going to walk you through just one more up here that is similar to the one up above. So the first question, y to the 8th times y to the 5th. Down here, the expectation would be, I know they have the same base. They both have a base of y. And so I know I just need to add these two exponents together. So y, 8 plus 5 would give us 13. So this would be y to the 13th power. This would be similar to the work that I should see on the rest of the page. Number 5, I want to look at, because this one is slightly different, because it has two different coefficients in front of our x values here. And when you're in a situation like this, there's a few on the page like this, you can still multiply just like you normally would. You can multiply your coefficient. So we can just kind of take these two numbers out and multiply those separate. So we're going to multiply the 2 and the 5 together. 2 times 5 is 10. And then we have our bases are the same, x is the same, and so we're going to add together our exponents, 2 plus 4. And so our final answer would be 10x. 2 plus 4 is 6, so it would be 10x to the 6th power. You're now going to go on to step 2 of your agenda. Step 2 is to finish the rest of these problems, 1 through 12, on this page. When you're finished with the 1 through 12 on this page, do not go on to page 77 until later in your agenda. You're going to go on next to step 3, and you're going to do quizzes.